Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about the state of the market because we have started to see basically everything pull back. I would say a pretty reasonably sized amount from some of the recent highs that we saw. And so we're going to talk about a couple of different things. First one is how low can it go? Obviously, we're seeing things pull back, potentially, not many signs of stopping anytime soon. However, things can always, turn on a dime. But overall, we are still kind of in the period of falling and looking to find some level of support. Also looking at kind of timing within like the larger bull run, the larger cycle. What are things looking at? How are we looking overall within kind of the timing of this continued bull run? We have seen pullbacks like this basically in every previous bull run. So this is not something to me that is like super concerning as far as like, that's it, all seasons canceled, anything like that. Things are still looking really, really good. So I just want to talk a little bit more about that as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. Starting out, what we can see, as I was talking about, the market overall just getting a little bit crushed, things down pretty big. If we do look at the week, some pretty deep red bubbles here. Again, Hyperliquid, BitGet, and Move are kind of the only ones that are positive on the week. Everything else, we can see about 20 to 30% down kind of on average in the market. Things taking a pretty decent hit. So, that's kind of what we're looking at so far. If we do look at Bitcoin, it's held decently, I would say. We did see highs at around 108,000. We did see lows coming all the way down. If we look at this like super volatile candle, we could see lows coming all the way down to like the low 90s. This wick we've seen also coming down into the low 90s. Not quite as low as this one back here on the 5th of December, but definitely a pretty deep wick down. We did see it get bought up almost instantly, though. We can see we're holding a support more at this like mid to high 90s range. So we haven't really broken back down into like the low 90s or even, the 80s from there. However, we have seen several other coins get hit pretty hard. If we do look at Ethereum, we can see that Ethereum was looking at over 4,000 even just a couple of days ago, and it's run down pretty hard. We even saw it actually wick down to like 3,100. So from there, almost a 25% pullback, pretty decently sized. What we can see also is looking at some of our other favorites that we look at on the channel. ICP hitting around $10, even wicking down into like below 9, which is a little bit nuts given that we were seeing almost looking at $16 here even just a couple weeks ago. So we can see that almost 50% pulled back from what we saw in the highs, actually more than 50% from what we saw in the highs even just a couple of weeks back. The blinding pace that we saw crypto move up, we've also seen it move down, which that's kind of just the fun of things. But ultimately, keep in mind what we are looking for is kind of on a macro trend, higher highs and higher lows. We can see, we did obviously make higher highs here. As long as we kind of stay at this $10-ish range, I would say we are making higher lows as well, again, from like a macro perspective. So nothing too concerning here overall. Again, looking at, some of these others, JASMY down again almost 50% from the highs that we saw, again, almost breaching 6 cents here in early December, pulling back now down almost to 3 cents, a little bit over 3 cents right here. Again, we are still looking to find some level of support. Given what we've seen in the past here as this being kind of a major point of resistance, I do think we could kind of cling onto this as a point of support. Again, usually when we see these types of runs, we'll see pullbacks of around 50%. We are sitting there on a lot of these different alts. So again, this is not financial advice. I have no idea what's going to happen for certain, but at least from my perspective, looking like potentially a fairly decent time to buy overall. So again, we'll have to keep looking and seeing what is going on here, but overall looking pretty decent. Again, if we look at Solana's been hit pretty hard over the past, I would say, month or so. We can see that Solana topped out over $263, actually hitting a new all-time high in price. We did hit a new all-time high in market cap somewhere back in here, I believe, like the 220s or 240s, but we did actually hit an all-time high in price here in late November. We can see basically since then it's been almost down only. I do think Solana we're going to see a lot out of Solana this run. So this is a pretty nice retrace back from where we were sitting even just a couple of months ago. So this is something where, potentially could be a good buying opportunity. Again, a couple weeks, even months ago, depending on some of these coins, people were buying all the way up because it was finally happening. Crypto was breaking out, all this type of stuff. And those same people are probably too afraid to buy back in here because of all of the different, crypto's dead now, all seasons canceled, this, that, and whatever else. And if/when we see a run back to the upside, again, I don't know the future. All season could be canceled. This time could be different, on and on and on, all that type of stuff. But if/when we do see a run to the upside, I'm sure these will be the same people who didn't buy down here that are buying on all the way back up here. So again, I can't tell the future, any of this type of stuff. But overall, things fundamentally still looking really, really strong within crypto. We're seeing massive discounts on a lot of these really, really top projects. One I did want to look at specifically is Sui. Sui holding really, really well. Again, this is always something that I think is very, very encouraging for a top project in the bull run, is even when a lot of these other projects, I mean, even look at ETHEREUM almost down 25%, Solana down like 30 or 40%. We're seeing Sui hold what, just like 10% off of all-time highs. Really, 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 really strong action on this Sui price chart. Pretty insane overall. And so this is one that, again, I'm always keeping a close eye on, looking for, potentially buying a dip, looking for a discount entry, all that type of stuff. Haven't really seemed to find one yet. Some of these wicks would be pretty decent entries if, we happen to catch them on this dip on the way down. But overall, holding really quite strongly. So as we can see, a lot of coins in the market down pretty decently. Sui is kind of one of the very rare ones that is holding pretty well. If you are interested in trading any of these, looking to get in on some of these discounts that we've seen, even just, from a couple of weeks ago, like I said, pulling back up to 50% on some of these, even Bitcoin, we're seeing about a 10% pullback, Ethereum about 25. If you are interested in trading in any of these, I am still working with BTCC. They are still doing that really, really awesome 10% bonus on first time deposits. This is in addition to the up to $10,055 that you can get just for signing up normally. So again, a really, really strong referral bonus for you guys. So if you are interested and you're looking for a new place to trade and you think BTCC might be a good option for you, like I said, just please use my link in the description below. This will qualify you for the 10% bonus on your first time deposits. Really, really great move. Like I said, if you're looking for a new place to trade anyway, they have been around for 13 years. So again, they're not one of those pop-up exchanges that, is here one day and gone the next. They've definitely have the longevity and the reputation to go with that. They do have 300 plus crypto futures, so basically anything that you might be looking to trade, they probably do have. Also up to 500x leverage. Again, I would strongly discourage you using this level of leverage. Anything above realistically 10 to 20x is extremely, extremely risky. Even just leverage in general is extremely risky. So obviously, you need to make your own decisions and do what you feel comfortable with, but anything up this high, I would strongly discourage. Even for me, who I'm somebody who actually does like to leverage trade, even 500x is a bit much. But also no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that is important to you. Like I said, just check the link in the description if this is something that you're interested in and you're looking for a new place to trade. Now, moving on, I want to go over just kind of this quick market overview dashboard that I've built. I've been coming back and referring to this several times just so we can see kind of what's going on. We can see as Bitcoin's price has leveled out a little bit, we have seen open interest kind of stagnate a little bit as well. We are seeing volume is staying pretty high, so pretty good overall. Again, this is just looking at Bitcoin specifically, but overall I would say the market is relatively healthy in terms of volume. Obviously, recently lots of volume but not great price action, but again, volume is really what we're looking for here. We can see on the RSI heat map things, the actual market average is sitting in weak. We are seeing some start to pop into the oversold category. Very, very few sitting in strong or overbought, which if we look back from, a couple weeks prior, basically everything was sitting in strong and overbought. And I did say, this is the point at which we realistically should be starting to see some pullback some point very, very soon, just because the entire market was in the strong/overbought category. Now we're looking in the weak/oversold. I do think, there are still a decent chunk sitting in neutral, so I do think there is a world in which we could continue to see, some further pullbacks until this market average maybe even gets to lower weak or maybe even oversold. But this is the point in time where it's probably starting to look like a better buying opportunity. Again, I always talk about on the channel, we're looking for points of maximum risk or maximum opportunity. When it's maximum risk, we do not want to be doing anything. And when it's maximum opportunity, that's obviously when we want to be doing the most. And so right now, at least in my opinion, it does look like we are getting to a point of better opportunity. I wouldn't say it's maximum opportunity quite yet, but things are looking a little bit better. Again, looking at the liquidation map, we can see actually favoring slightly, not too much. We are a little bit low on leverage. This is a bit lower volume than what we have seen in the past. We are definitely favoring a move to the upside compared to the downside, which as we'd seen for the past probably 4 to 6 weeks, it was always favoring a move to the downside. On the 7-day, we are seeing the market favor a much stronger move towards the upside to liquidate shorts. We can see the market in general is definitely kind of heavy on shorts right now. And so generally, at least historically, we've seen that it's moved pretty accurately towards the side of the most liquidations. And so we are kind of getting at the point where I think the market's getting a little bit scared. If you've been on Twitter recently, you can see people basically losing their minds, which again, these people are almost consistently wrong. So I don't know why people listen to them anymore. But it happens, I guess. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of selling, things are down kind of a lot. We can see we've pulled out of extreme greed. We are still in greed. I do think if we see, maybe a couple more days of this type of action that we have been seeing, we might be pulling back into like the neutral range. Given kind of the market that we're sitting in and how crypto is looking just generally overall, I doubt pretty heavily that we'll get into fear or extreme fear. However, anything is possible, right? So, I mean, don't necessarily take that off the table, but at least for me, I think if we see something dip back into the neutral, that to me is probably going to signal within a couple of days of potentially the bottom of this either way. Again, I could be wrong. I have no idea for certain what's going to happen in the future. This is just kind of my assumption based on, one, the market that we're sitting in, and two, just kind of how things are looking a little bit more generally in the broader market. Things still are looking fairly strong, at least in my opinion. So this is just kind of I would say a pretty standard and a pretty healthy cool off period. So really, really good news in my opinion, even though I don't like to be losing money just as much as the next guy. But I think from a health of the market and a long-term success of crypto, I think this is a pretty good thing overall. Now, looking at the stock to flow, I do want to remind us of something that we have not seen yet, that we have seen basically at every point in the past. And we can see that when we get into our major moves up, we do move above this stock to flow line. We've not moved above it yet. We realistically aren't even that close to moving above it yet. So if alt season were canceled and everything kind of moves down, definitely possible. I'm not saying that is not a possibility, but this would be unusual, meaning that this is the first time in history that we would have actually seen it not break above the stock to flow line, kind of calling the top, right? Again, if we can look at the pi cycle top's not even close. There's a lot of different things that we have not really seen yet. And so I think the fact that we are seeing Bitcoin hold so strongly while the rest of the market is cooling off pretty heavily, this looks pretty good in the sense that, like, I do think we could continue to see a move to the upside on Bitcoin and potentially peak above this stock to flow line. Again, this could be one of those times where maybe everybody's looking at stock to flow, and because everybody thinks it's going to happen, it won't. I still don't think that yet. Now, we can see that the stock to flow line has remained at least somewhat accurate, right? Because we did actually peak above the stock to flow line as recent as like June. So it hasn't become like too unattainable, right? It's not like we just barely peaked over it in 2021 and haven't been even close ever since. We did peak above this year, right? So we have seen this happen recently, and it's just until basically like June, July that we came under the stock to flow curve, and we've kind of been tracking with it a little bit, but we have not made kind of the move that we need to actually like close the gap there. And so this is something that I will be monitoring closely, given what we are seeing just kind of with the crypto market and everything overall right now. I do think things still look pretty good. This pullback and this cool down that we have seen is not something I'm particularly worried about. In my opinion, it gives us a good time to kind of flush some of the euphoria, flush some of the like extra liquidations, all of this type of stuff. If people are getting too wild too fast, that is what these types of pullbacks do, is they kind of reset that market. And the fact that we are holding in some cases 50, 80, 100, 200, 300, 400, 600% highs above what we were even just a couple of months ago. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we've pulled back, 50% or 30% or 20% or whatever, not great, right? But we are still a decent bit above a lot of these like previous price targets that we were at before. And again, I've been saying this, we are not in alt season. I don't expect us to be in alt season probably for the next several months, potentially. It really depends on how kind of this market unfolds, but maybe March at the earliest, September, October at kind of the latest. We're still months away from a lot of the kind of alt season craziness happening. And so a lot of what we are looking towards right now is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has been holding up pretty strong. It's been showing a decent bit of strength. And so from that perspective, I do think things still look pretty good, even though we have seen some pretty nasty pullbacks in the recent past. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe, because it really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just feel free to drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read all of those and respond to all of them as well. So if you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.